Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello. Let me set all our comment protections. Hello, Miss Chris. Turn on all the things that help protect us from spammers. And let's turn on the do not disturb so that people can't call me while we're on Instagram. Okay. Well, I don't know about you all, but this has been like a busy day, busy weekend with all kinds of stuff with the Easter holiday and finishing up Passover and all kind of things. And I hope wherever you are, I hope you had a very blessed and wonderful, peaceful holiday. Whichever holiday you were celebrating, or if you were celebrating no holidays, I hope you had a wonderful, peaceful, restful holiday. So I'm working on my newsletter. It'll probably go out tomorrow, and it's a little late doing because of the holiday, and that is okay. And as I was writing it, I realized that I am incredibly filled with gratitude and joy. And I wanted to talk about manifesting today because we're coming into the time where the next few months up in the universe and the astrological is going to be really active. This is April, but in just a few short weeks in May, we're going to start having a series of eclipses. And when we get into eclipses, it's taking the moon cycles and putting them like on steroids. And so it becomes really important to start working before we get into eclipse seasons to work on and look at the things that we want to create, the things that we want to manifest, the things that we're grateful for. Love and gratitude is truly the highest level of the universe. That is the engine of the universe. And so I want to talk a little bit about vibrating higher. When we can vibrate at a higher level, we are able to really push people away. And you've heard me talk before about loving people away, about people who maybe aren't maybe the greatest energetic match for us, or maybe they're just downright toxic, but we still have love for them for whatever reason, because they are family, or they're old friends, or they did something good for us. I, for years before Mary Kay, before this work publicly, I worked in the TV and movie industry. I worked in TV and movie production. I worked with probably every star that you could name in the 90s and early 2000s. So I have worked with them all. And there are those who have certain reputations of being, hard to deal with, and some of that is extremely true. But there are others where I feel like, that person has that reputation, but that wasn't my experience. And I'm not going to name names or whatever, but there have been certainly have been my experience where people would say, "Oh God, you're working with that person. They're such a diva, or such a so much attitude." And again, sometimes that was my experience, but for others, that was not my experience. And so for me, when I would hear those comments at industry events or whatever, and I would hear those comments, and I'd say, "No, that wasn't my experience." And I was very happy to be able to, thank you, Robin. I was very happy to be able to refute that, and I tried to not overly confirm when something was true, but to be able to say that wasn't my experience. And so we judge people, or I don't really like to use the word judge, but we allow people to come into our space based on our personal experience, rather than based on the hearsay or what other people may have said, because that really just comes down to gossip. And so when we have those folks in our lives that are, hello love, that are toxic perhaps to us or toxic to others, we we can still hold love for them, even though we want to love them over there. We've talked about loving people away a bunch of times. And we talked before about the way we get to a higher vibration in ourselves is when we can really look at a toxic person and still hold love for them. When we can look at someone who has treated us badly, has been rude or disrespectful or downright mean or manipulative, or any of these things where it's not a good situation, where people have treated us really wrongly, and we can take the lesson, we can release the pain, we can forgive. We don't have to forgive the action. Okay, we don't have to make the action okay. I'm never saying that. I'm never saying that they did horrible things and we should, tell them that's all okay. That is not what I'm saying. We don't forgive the action, but we can forgive the human, because we're all flawed humans. And to be able to say, I forgive this human for the action that they took, using whatever information that they had at the time and for whatever purpose they were meant to play in my life, that I, to an extent, brought that to myself, because my energy, my interaction with the universe, I have manifested that into my life, or for whatever lesson I needed to learn from that. To be able to forgive the person, not necessarily forgive the action, okay, but to release the action, to release my hostility about the action, to release my feelings of victimhood and woe is me and that kind of thing, because that is a very low vibration. To be able to release those things, to get ourselves to a point where we can say, I don't want this person in my life. I don't need this person in my life, but I wish them no ill will. Okay. I wish them no ill will. I love them over there. I love them away. Okay. And we get to the point where we will say, I love them away, but then you have to ask yourself, do you really love them? And when we can get to the point where you say, this person wronged me, this person harmed me, this person manipulated me, this person, whatever that they did, narcissists, vampires, low vibrational people, whatever, can you hold love in your heart for that person? Okay. And when you can get to that point, now you are vibrating, you yourself, you are vibrating at a higher energy. You are vibrating in that place of love or above, because you're operating from this place of love rather than operating from a place of anger, hostility, victimhood, rage, any of those things. And when we can operate from that place of love, now we are attracting many more wonderful things to us than we were before, in a much more strong way. I'm sorry, I'm knocking everything over on my desk. Now we are attracting things to us in a stronger way. Our vibration is higher. We are much more capable of manifesting and creating. And so as we start to come in, and we're still like 6 weeks out, so we're going to talk about this a couple of different times, but when we know we're coming into eclipse season, it's important for us to do the work ahead of time. We don't want to get to it, be like, oh my gosh, full moon is tomorrow and it's an eclipse and I've got to do, because it doesn't work that way, at least not in a positive outcome. Okay. So we're going to talk about this a little bit more over the next few weeks, because if you still have anger or hot spots in your body, in your emotional body, in your energetic body, if there are people that you cannot, hey Debbie, if there are people that you just can't forgive, or that you can't get past what they did to you, or whatever that looks like, I really encourage you to take some time, grab a journal, grab some note paper. It doesn't have to be fancy. Sit down and really walk yourself through either a body scan, or just you're opening your heart and see, where do I feel energy is stuck? And so if you've never done a body scan before, you can start at the top and work your way down. I personally like to start at the bottom and work up. Most people go from the bottom up because we are in the earthbound, the physical chakras, the things that are more earthbound, and then we get up into the higher chakras that are more bound up into the universe and higher energy. To really walk through and say, okay, where do I feel like, who am I mad at? Who am I angry with? Who am I still holding resentment to? And often if you will just sit in that and say, okay, I'm in my base chakra. This is, house, food, lodging, safety, where I live, what I do, who in my house or who's around me directly, do I feel, who am I mad at, who am I resentful for, who do I hold resentment to, who am I, jealous of, where is there something? And then just listen. And we move up the chakras, and things will come to you, and they may come to you right in that moment. They may come to you a little later. Just keep your list going. Who am I mad at? And, I know we've seen things in movies where like the villain has some list, this is, I'm going to get you list. And then, in the end of the movie, hopefully he comes to like, oh, we reconciled or whatever. Okay. Something to that effect. We're looking not necessarily to reconcile with the person on the list. We're looking to reconcile with ourselves. Okay, we're looking to reconcile with ourselves. And so as we make this list, and you don't have to show this to anybody, please do not, we're not making a hit list, but this is about how am I, okay, Kristen, time for you to go. Time for you to go. Bye-bye. Oops, you gotta go. We don't have spammers here. We do not welcome spammers here. So Robin, I thank you. Robin's right on that ball. When you're writing your list, after you have your list completed, this is the time to sit in and really feel the feels of whatever your situation is with that person. To be able to sit in that place and say, this is why I'm angry with this person, and journaling is always a good idea. And we're sitting in that and we're feeling our feelings to that person. We're feeling that it is, the anger, the frustration, whatever it is. And we are feeling that emotion, that energy. And then we are able to look at that and say, what can I release here? What can I release? What in this do I no longer need to hold on to? And there are people that have hurt me. I'm sure we can all raise a hand and say there are people that have hurt us. There are people that have tried to manipulate us. There are people who have done, bad things. Can you find a blessing in that experience? And some experiences, there is no blessing. I get that. Okay. But can you find a blessing in the experience to be able to say, this is a shitty thing that happened to me, but here's what I learned. Here's where I grew. Here's how I got stronger. I don't have to thank that person for whatever crap that they did, but I can appreciate the experience, the value and the growth that came from the experience. Okay. And that's where we're looking to go, because when you can come to that point, then you can say, I can appreciate the value and the growth that I experienced because I went through this thing. We can go back a little further and say, I would not have experienced that thing had that person not been in my life. Or would I have experienced that thing differently if it had been a total stranger or someone who wished me harm or, more malice involved? What we can go through and really pick those things apart. So what we're looking for is once we have the person that we are struggling with, where we still feel those negative emotions, to be able to look at that situation and say, what did I learn from this? Where did I grow from this? And how would that situation have been different had it not been occurring with that specific person in my life? I can come to a point and understanding that this is not always a quick process, okay? So again, this is why we want to start this several weeks out before the eclipses. I can come to a point where I can say, I didn't like that experience. I really don't want to go through that again. I don't have to like that person, but I can come to appreciate the value and the growth from having gone through it. And I can appreciate the fact that they were the person to bring it to me, and understand that there's a soul contract in there. There would have to be a soul contract in there, and appreciate how much strength it takes for people to enter into a soul contract, to agree to be crappy to someone that they love. If your soul and their soul has made a contract, it's because they are in a place of love in a higher dimension. And they have agreed to come to this dimension and be crappy to you. That takes a lot of strength and courage and a lot of love. And look at it as when my kids were younger and there were those things that we had to do, like vaccinations is a big topic right now with everybody. So, we'd take them to the doctor, we got them their vaccines, and they would cry because it would hurt, and I would feel terrible because I was like making my child cry, but I knew we had to do it for their greater good. Okay. And so I put those things in the same file where I'm able to say, these are things that I really don't want to experience again. They weren't any fun. I didn't like it, but I see the value. I see the greater good. And I can also start to understand how the soul of this person must have felt such love for me to be willing to come down here and incarnate and be a pain in my ass. There has to be a lot of love there to be willing to do that, because from the soul level, there's only love. Okay, there's only love. That manipulation and the negativity and how we're crappy to each other, that's human. Okay, that is down here. That is not part of the higher vibration of the soul. So when the soul is going to come and agree to be shitty to you, it's because they're coming from a soul contract that was part of, hey, I need to incarnate and learn this, and I want to learn it from somebody who I know is going to have my back in some way because you're part of my soul family, and we come into that soul contract. So when we can start to look at those things from that perspective, we can say, I don't have to like that person. I sure as heck don't have to have that person anywhere around me or in my energy or in my life on a daily basis or at all if I can help it. But I can appreciate the value of the lessons I learned, and I can appreciate where I grew from having the experience of being with that person. And I wish them, here's the catch, I wish them only love and blessings in their lives. Okay. I literally have somebody who's still like not really in my life, but I still at least kind of blend paths, cross paths every once in a while. How I literally can watch still trying to be shitty to me from afar. And that's okay, because I say to this person, I wish you only love and blessings. And if this is the level of the vibration of where you want to operate, that's great. I'm going to vibrate up here. I'm going to vibrate up here because I don't need this petty bullshit. Okay. And so we have that ability. We have that opportunity to make the choice to say, do I want to continue to be like pissed about this? Do I want to be pissed off? Do I want to hold this anger and resentment in my heart? Do I still want to fight this stupid fight? No. Or do I want to say, I love you for what you brought to my life, and I'm going to leave that over there, and I wish you only love and blessings. So I come back to the celebrities that, if they were a blessing in my life, even if they were crappy to somebody else, to me, there was a blessing in it, and I appreciated it, and I wish them only love and blessing as they go. And so for the people who will be, have taught me a lot, I wish them only love and blessing, because I don't need to hold any of this negative energy in my heart, in my body, in my solar plexus, in my mind. I don't want to hold these things. And so I work on that all the time. Okay. And so this is one of the things that I want to really give you to think about, because we're coming up to some eclipses in May. And eclipses are like putting the effects of the moon on steroids. So this is a time to release all of those things, all of that negative energy, so that we can vibrate higher, so that we are operating at that place of love or above. Okay, so that is where we are choosing to live, and that is the vibration that we are choosing to hold on to. So that when we come into the time of the eclipses, and we'll talk about them as we get a little bit closer, when we come into that time, we are approaching those moons with love and with full expectation. And so this is where I want to bring this back around to what I'm writing about in my newsletter. This is about asking, listening, and then trusting. And this is a big thing. I think that I feel like so many of us get stuck in that third place, trust, right? And we've talked about this with the ritual of the cups before, but where we have the opportunity to ask the question, how can I create more of this in my life? We stop, we breathe, maybe a little meditation. We listen. Show me a sign. Show me some guidance. How can I create more of fill in your blank in my life? And we listen. And then we trust. And this is the part that is hardest, I think, for most people, is to be able to trust in that at the end, to be able to say, okay, I have heard the guidance of the universe, and I am going to trust and act on what I have been given. And so I want to bring this back to where we were talking about making your list of people. So when you're asking who is on my list, who am I holding resentment or anger or frustration, or who is on my list, listen. We're listening. Names will pop into your head, and you might be surprised. There might be people that you didn't think you were having some resentment with, that maybe you just need to clear that, and that may be something you just need to clear that with yourself. Okay, there may be a situation where you have the conversation with the other person and say, you know, I didn't realize I was holding some resentment about this. I just wondered if we could talk it through, because I'd really like to let go of this. Okay, or you may just need to do that within yourself. How important is this for me to hold on to this anger and frustration? Now, if you have had something where somebody has really done you wrong, let's say, you know, rape or a medical malpractice or something where there was really something very dramatic, and you have a reason to hold on to that anger and frustration that's going to drive you forward through, you know, a legal battle or, you know, a result or whatever, you know, we hold on to those things to give us strength. But when we come to the end of that road, we now have the choice. Do I want to hold on to this anger and resentment forever, which we know is how we can bring illness into our body? Or do I want to, can I work on releasing this? And there are things that sometimes we just don't even realize we are still holding on to. Okay. And so I feel like it is really important for us to do this work before we come into the time of eclipses, because there's going to be several. Okay. And eclipses are not only are they very intense in their manifestation abilities, but they can be very intense in how they feel for us and how we feel as we are experiencing them. And so having that release, cleaning our slate, releasing all the things that don't serve us, when we come to that time, we can really create some very powerful manifestations. But it is about these three things: asking, who or what am I holding on to? Or how can I bring more something into my life? And then we listen. And then the third part of it is trusting that the universe will be acting on our behalf. And I think that that is one of the places where people really struggle the most. How can I bring more of this into my life? Trust that the universe is acting on your behalf, because they are. They absolutely are. When you operate with that expectation that they are, and you are sending that out, and you have unspooled your DNA, right? You have unspooled your DNA so that you are sending out the highest vibration that you can out into the universe, that you are sending that out there, and you are sending it out with love and gratitude, because when you are in love and gratitude, your DNA stretches out. And when we stay in anger and resentment, our DNA smooshes up, and we can't manifest anything because our DNA is too smushed up. So we stay in that place of love and gratitude. We have the ability to really manifest so much, and we can hear better, because we're not all clogged up with all this stuff in our heads about she, he, did, da, 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 and that we can also build more trust with the universe. And we've talked about this, I think, before, about building trust with the universe, where we start with smaller things, and then as we go forward, we can, it's like giving a responsibility to a smaller human, to a you know, maybe a 9-year-old or an 11-year-old. Can I walk to the corner? Can I walk to the store? Can I you know, get a learner's permit at 15 and I can drive the car? And we build trust by giving responsibility, by allowing the relationship to grow. When I taught my kids to drive, and my boys both learned how to drive on a pink Cadillac, but when I taught my boys to drive and we got in the car, I did not for 1 second think that they knew what they were doing. I thought they had an inkling. And we drove over to a safe place, and I got it, you know, we switched seats. I said, okay, what do you need to do? And we talked about mirrors, and we talked about blinkers and seatbelts and all that kind of thing. And then we drove in a straight line, okay? And the first time that they did it, they were like, we were both like, ah, right? But you build trust. You start with small things. So we drove around an empty parking lot at the school after the, you know, hours when nobody was there. And we drove around where there was nothing they could hit. So we could establish some ground rules and some baseline. And then the next time that we did it, they did better. And we live very near to the school. So I let them go out onto the main road and drive, our neighborhood is like the next thing. So drive out on the main road, drive back into the neighborhood. You build trust. And the way that you build trust is by trusting in a little bit, and then a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more. But if you don't start trusting the universe, you never get to that point. And so I really want where you can completely say, I don't know why this is happening, but I trust that you all know what you're doing, because there's going to be some blessing in there somewhere for me somehow, because you're doing this. Something is going on. Okay. I don't know what you're keeping me from, what you're protecting me from. When things happen, I just assume they are protecting me. Okay. That is a very different way of responding than it's like, why is this happening to me? Woe is me. Oh. Okay. That's victim mentality, and that is not trusting that the universe is working it out, because they have a much better view of what's going on than we do. Okay, so allowing them to do the work on your behalf is extremely important. So we have talked about the ponies, the kids in the room with the ponies, right? The two kids go in for the psychological experiment, and they go in, and both of the kids go into a room, and there is a big pile of horse poop in each room. And the one kid is like, oh, gross, there's a pile of horse poop. And the other kid just jumps right in, and he's like digging around. And the researchers are like, what are you doing? He's like, well, with all this horse poop, there's got to be a pony in here somewhere. He was trusting the universe. So I want to leave you with that, because this is the work that is so important for us to do right now over this next cycle, this next time of, I know the moon is in the third quarter. And so I think, but this is the time for us to do this work, so that we can, as the moon is coming back down into the time for the next new moon, that we are, I think we just had the full moon. Did we just have, yeah, we just had the full moon. And so we're coming into the last quarter. So this is the, and I think we just passed the last quarter. So we're coming down. So this is the time for us to really take a good look at what is going on with us, so that over the next month or so, we are doing the work within ourselves to prepare us for the time of massive manifestation at the time of the eclipses. And again, we'll talk about those more as we get a little closer, but it is so important to prepare yourself, and do the self-regulating, self-assessing, self-clearing, releasing work that we need to do. And maybe you don't have any to do, and that's okay. But to be prepared, so that when we come time to the massive manifestation, one, we are clear about what we'd like to manifest when we get there. And two, we are vibrating at love or above. We are vibrating higher, so that we know what we want, how it's going to work, and we can trust the universe to bring it to us, to help us to create it, right? The universe is always, always on our side. Even when we look at it and go, huh? The universe is always on our side. All right, so in our Oracle of the Seven Energies, we are, okay, so y'all know, you heard me shuffle. I always do it the same way. I shuffle 3 times. And so we have the card Great and Full. And so it is really completely about what we have been talking about this whole time, is getting ourselves straight and in alignment, so that we are vibrating as high as possible, so that we are coming through with the right energy at the right time as we go forward. So this is really a crown chakra card. And this is the crown chakra, is where this energy is focusing. So it's telling you, you've got to get everything cleared so that we're ready to be up here when the time comes. Yes? Okay. And then we did have a jumper. You know, I love jumper cards. And we take those very seriously. And so this is ears wide open. Ears wide open. So I cannot make this stuff up. I tell you, we must listen. This is the time of asking and listening. And so here we are with ears wide open. I think that is pretty self-explanatory. Listen to the universe, trust the universe, listen to what they are trying to show us. So let's see which of our goddesses are with us this week. Always like to do the shuffle live so you can hear them, so that we are I don't like to pull the cards in advance. I like to do it right in the moment to be able to connect with you. All right, so the goddess that we are going to have wisdom and guidance from. Oh, this is interesting because we've not met her before. This is White Buffalo Calf Woman. White Buffalo Calf Woman. White Buffalo Calf Woman. We've not met her before. That is so interesting. I love when new things come up. Let's see what she is about. And her mantra is reverence. Reverence. So it says now, okay. It says now is the time to view your world through a lens of peace, harmony, and reconciliation. The domain of the Lakota goddess, White Buffalo Calf Woman. It is time to leave the right and wrong, good and bad, zero-sum game world behind and enter the space where you can find the sacred ground of sharing without guide and negotiating from a desire that everyone benefits. You'll be so glad you did. Take a humbled yet grounded approach to your life right now. Only good will come of it. I love that. I mean, seriously, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. The cards are never, ever wrong. I'm always just so honored and humbled when they choose to speak in such powerful ways, because you come through everything we've just talked about, everything they've just asked me to share with you, and then you have this card that comes out to share exactly what we have just discussed. And it just makes my heart just so happy. Which chakra was ears wide open? Ears, that is throat chakra, interestingly. So this is the throat chakra with ears wide open. Now, we do actually have chakras in our ears. They're right above the throat chakra. So you do have that right there. So that is blue. That's going to be your throat chakra. Let me double check that for you, Chris, because that might actually be, it's hard for me to tell on these little cards. These cards have this little color around the number. And that is the color that indicates what which chakra it is. And it is possible that that is third eye. No, that's going to be throat chakra. Okay, I just like to make sure. Double check. So that is going to be throat chakra. Okay, I double check for you. All right, now I lost count. I think I'm about to get a surprise. Hey, how are you? You're home early?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you'll tell me about it in a few minutes. My son is home early. That's always a nice gift. All right. So we have the first card in our Work Your Life Oracle card is transformation. I love that. I love that. It says things are changing at a cellular level for deep healing. I love that. Is that literally not what we just talked about? I am always so incredibly grateful the cards tell us exactly what we need to know. The Pillar of Light is our second card. Your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. Your vibration is rising. Your vibration, because you're doing the transformative work. You are doing the transformation. You are doing the work to help make sure that you are ready for the next level, that you are ready for when it's time for the full eclipses to have all of your energies cleared, your heart cleared, your gratitude, your love, you're working at the highest level, you are ready to create, and you have built trust with the universe. And then our last card for today, it says, Mintonkin, longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. So here we are, truly fascinating. Let me put the story together for you. So we have our, where are my energy cards? Okay, so we have great and full that reminds us to vibrate at the highest levels, to reminds us to vibrate at our highest levels, to stay in that place of love or above. Then we are also reminded that it is time for us to listen to our heart, to listen to what's going on around us so that we can clear all the things inside of us that we no longer need. We can release all the things that no longer serve us. We are reminded that White Buffalo Calf Woman is with us. She is guiding us this week. She is the one who is telling us about releasing all of these things, these low vibrational energies, and to stay grounded and to stay in the place of gratitude and love. She is reminding us, and she will be our guide this week. And as we are moving through, we have these 3 cards that are absolutely just incredible. We have transformation, understanding that we are changing. We are changing our hearts, we're changing our minds, we're changing our vibrations, and that we are being guided again by Pillar of Light that is showing us the way, that we are staying connected to the light. It says your vibration is rising, you are the oracle. The more that we can release of all the stuff that no longer serves us, anger, jealousy, rage, resentment, any of those things, we release all of that, we raise up higher, we vibrate higher, we can hear more clearly our guidance from the universe because we are rising higher, enabling ourselves to become our own oracle, and we are reminded that the Mitakan, the original light workers, are here to guide us as well. There is so much support and love being shared with us this week and in the coming weeks to help prepare us energetically to cleanse and clean and clear ourselves so that we are ready to really move in conjunction with the universe, to move in harmony with the universe when the time comes next month. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I got to tell you that these cards have just put something super powerful through me, and I am so incredibly grateful. What a gorgeous, beautiful, love and support filled message of our cards that reiterates and supports everything that we just talked about listening to the universe, trusting the universe, knowing that we are being supported, that the universe has our back every single day. I love that. I absolutely love that. You cannot make this up. The cards do not lie. That was fabulous. All right, if I do say so. I want to, I don't see any questions, so that's good. And I want to say thank you so much for choosing to spend some time with me this afternoon, whether you're on Facebook or Instagram, or whether you catch me later on my YouTube channel. This video will be posted on my YouTube channel. Robin, thank you so much. Robin has posted my link tree so you can find me in all of the places that I am. And I want to encourage you to join me here on Wednesday, right back here at 7 o'clock Eastern for meditation. And I want to tell you that the enrollment for my online course, Becoming an Empowered Empath, is going to open again later this month. So if you missed it the first time and you were looking at wanting to take it again when it comes around again, it is coming around soon. Enrollment is going to open later this month, so be ready. We don't want you to miss it. And I am looking forward to having you all with us on that journey of becoming an empowered empath. So for now, I will tell you, oh, yes, we have said to draw a card for Miss Chris. Absolutely. So the first one on the top of the deck is leap, 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 leap. Take your leap of faith. You go first. The universe will catch you. Take your leap of faith. Absolutely. Card for Miss Chris. So have a beautiful, blessed, joy-filled week. Ask the universe. Listen to the universe. Trust the universe. It's a card for everybody. Take the leap. Take the leap. Release the things that no longer serve you. You will be so glad you did. I love you. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some time. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I look forward to talking with you on Wednesday and seeing you again next Monday. Have a great one.